Oh dear. Ow. Hi guys and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing part 1 of my big September book haul. This is actually quite a collective book haul. This is ranging from the books that I picked up at the BookTube meetup all the way up until the books that I picked up last week. So there's a lot to get through. I'm going to split it into a few parts. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 parts going up on my channel in the next couple of weeks. So I'm going to start with the books that I was kindly sent to do the Man Booker long list. The first book for the Man Booker long list I was very kindly sent by Granta, and that was Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeline Thine. The next video on my channel is going to be a wrap up of all the books I've been reading in the last couple of months, and that includes all of the books that I read for the Man Booker long list. So I'm not going to say too much about it right now, but I really enjoyed this. This has also been nominated for the shortlist, which is excellent news. I'm very happy about that. So this is set in Canada in 1990, and a young girl called Marie, I think she's 10 years old, and her mother let in a young girl, I believe her name is Aiming, and she tells a story of her troubled childhood, and it's so much about Chinese history and the power struggles that go on in terms of politics and relationships in China, and it was so interesting to read and I really enjoyed it, but I haven't mentioned it in haul, so I thought I would pop it in here. Next is The North Water by Ian Maguire. This will also be in the review that I did, but I unfortunately didn't finish this book. I didn't particularly enjoy it. It's set in Yorkshire, so it encompasses a lot of the Yorkshire dialect, which I quite enjoyed, but it's just not something that I really wanted to read right now. Next was very kindly sent to me by One World, and that is The Sellout by Paul Beattie. Again, this is one that was nominated for the shortlist. I'm very lucky, in the majority of the ones that I read were actually nominated for the shortlist. Eileen as well is something that I read, but I have mentioned that in a previous haul. I absolutely loved this. This is very satirical, it's very funny, but it's also very dark. At some points you find yourself laughing and you're a bit taken aback by the fact you're laughing at something so dark. Essentially, this is about one man that wants to reinstate segregation into a high school. Yeah, like I said, I don't want to mention too much about this right now, but I really enjoyed this one too. The next book I was very kindly sent by Faber, and that's Hystopia by David Means. I haven't read this yet. This wasn't nominated for the shortlist, but I do still want to read this. This is about President John F. Kennedy in the end of the 1960s, and it encompasses the Vietnam War. Hopefully I'll enjoy this. Also, it's such a beautiful cover. I mean, that's absolutely stunning. I love it so much. Next I'm going to move on to a couple of books that I requested from publishers. So the first one you've probably seen on BookTube, it's been doing the rounds quite a lot, and that is Dinosaurs on Other Planets by Danielle McLaughlin. This was very kindly sent to me by John Murray. I'm about halfway through this collection at the moment. Unfortunately, I'm not particularly enjoying it at the moment. I'm not connecting to any of the characters in particular, and thinking about the stories that I've read, nothing is really sticking out to me. It reads a lot like Eileen, which I've just read for the Man Booker shortlist. I don't know, I'm just not particularly enjoying it at the moment. I am going to finish it though, so you will see a review of this quite soon, hopefully on my channel. Next one was sent to me by Faber, and that is The Lesser Bohemians by Ellen McBride. It's taken me ages to mention this in a haul, so that now this is out, and I know a lot of people have read it and absolutely loved it. This is about a girl that goes to drama school, so obviously I'm already sold, and falls in love with one of her teachers. The first chapter in this is absolutely incredible. Again, I mentioned this in a review that I'm doing, which you'll see next on my channel, so I don't want to mention too much about it right now. But the first chapter in this is just magical. It's one of my favourite openings to a book ever. The writing style was quite difficult to get into originally, but now I'm in it, I'm just fully invested. And I really enjoy it, and again, absolutely beautiful cover. Now I'm going to move on to all the books that I picked up at the BookTuber meetup a couple of months ago. I had an absolutely fantastic day. It was so lovely to meet so many booktubers that I'd been watching for quite a few years, and to make friends with them, and it was just really lovely, and I did pick up quite a few books. So the first book that I picked up was this beautiful book, and this is The Boy with the Cuckoo Clock Heart by Matthew Malzieu. And it says that it's a major motion picture. It could have potentially just come out in France, because I haven't seen anything about this, but this is set in Edinburgh in 1874, and it's a boy that is born with a frozen heart. His mother decides to have a cuckoo clock put in instead of his frozen heart, and the story just evolves from there, and it sounds so wonderful. It sounds very fairy tale-esque, and I definitely want to get to this quite soon. It sounds really good. If anybody's read this or even seen the film, you let me know if it's any good, because I really would like to see this film, but I would like to read the book first. Next is Hope Farm by Peggy Frew. This, again, absolutely beautiful cover. I really love this. And this is set in the winter of 1985, and Hope Farm is essentially a cult. I think on the back it's described as a rural hippie commune. which means cult, let's be honest. And it says, Silver's mother, Ishtar, has fallen for the charismatic Miller, and the three of them have moved to the rural hippie commune to make a new start. And it sounds really excellent. Me and Mercedes both picked this up, so hopefully we're going to buddy read this at some point, but yeah, it sounds really interesting. Next is a really interesting book. It's a very small book, but it's actually a hardcover, and this is Visitation by Jenny Erpenbeck. I really love the inside of this book with the frog, and then the blurb is just there. This is about a man who builds the house of his dreams, but it turns out that where he's built it actually has a lot of history and there's a lot of ghosts surrounding it, and one by one the people around him, all of his neighbours, start to disappear, and the story just unfolds from there. Sounds really creepy, something that I definitely want to read around this time of year. Next is another beautiful cover. I actually picked this up solely because the cover was just beautiful, but this is The Fun Parts by Sam Lipsky. This is a short story collection. As you can see, it's going to be quite a satirical read. Sophie from Portal in the Pages told me that she really enjoyed this. I don't really know much about this. I've never heard of it before. So yeah, hopefully I'll get to this one soon as well. Another short story collection that I picked up, which is this beautiful cover as well, is The Biting Point by Catherine Smith, which is published by Speech Bubble Books, which is not a publisher that I've heard of before, but this is, I think, going to be quite a hard-hitting, emotional short story collection. From the cover it seems quite intense and a lot about the reality of life, and especially about being a woman and what that means. It says that it's unpredictable, edgy and often surprisingly funny, so it sounds really, really good. Another short story collection that I picked up was shown to me by Jen and Mercedes, and they sort of forced it into my hands, so I picked it up, and that's Fly Away Home by Marina Warner. This is published by Salt, and it's a collection of short stories to do with myth and folklore and fairy tales. I just trusted their judgment, but I know that I'm going to really enjoy this. And I'm really looking forward to reading this soon. Next is one that Eleanor gave to me from Eleanor Reads Books, and that is Milk and Honey by Rapi Kaur. This is actually sort of like a poetry collection. And I don't read poetry on the whole. I really enjoy poetry, I think it's wonderful. I just don't particularly read it. A lot of the experience that I've had of reading poetry came from A and AS level English literature, and we picked some horrific poets. I didn't enjoy any of that, and that sort of put me off, which is a little bit of a shame, but this is absolutely beautiful. I love the illustrations in it. I mean, this is going to be sort of a really quick read, and I'm really hoping to enjoy it. All it says on the back is, this is a journey of surviving through poetry. This is the blood, sweat, tears of 21 years. This is the heart in your hands. This is the hurting, the loving, the breaking, the healing. And finally is something, again, that will be mentioned in my wrap-up, which is Hot Little Hands by Abigail Ullman. Again, another short story collection. Yes, I know, I need to stop buying them. This is essentially a coming of age short story collection about girls that are on the brink between adolescence and adulthood. I really enjoyed the first half and I really hated the second half, but again, I go in a lot more depth in my review. It involves sexual encounters, breakups, romance, but it's quite hard-hitting at some points. It definitely doesn't shy away from it. There's a couple of stories in here that really left me thinking about them for ages after, and I still think about it today, and it's been like over a month since I read this, so I really, really enjoyed that one as well. So that is everything for part one of my book haul. I've tried to split it up a little bit more. I know I usually do a lot more books in my book hauls, but I thought I'd split it up this time so I could go in a little bit more depth with you about all of the books. Please let me know if you've read any of these or are interested in them or have any recommendations for me. Let me know down below. I'd be really interested to hear what you think. I hope you all have a really lovely week, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye!